This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Don't mistake the new me for the old me. They can't stop me now, I'm with the whole team. No beginner, I'm a winner. Took a couple losses, now I'm cooking, let me simmer. Yeah, tunnel vision, all I see is win, 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 win. This my city section where you been. We move faster along, but go further together. We can weather any weather forever. A dream team, I done seen things. Confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, One, two. Forget the things you probably thought you knew. A new day is approaching, turn the gray skies into blue. I grew up on these same blocks, school of hard knocks. Had to get it on a hard time, took the hard shots, but we made it. Anticipated, highly decorated. The whole team is winning, celebrated. The victory is all mine, and everything is alright. And you know how to see things, confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like,
What's up, everybody? All right, let me make sure. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me, please. And my audio sounds okay. Everything is good. So I am thumbs up. Okay, so I'm working on my system now, and I'm trying to, and so I'm playing with some things. I'm trying to figure out how to bring in guests without them hearing an echo. So I changed a couple things on my system. And now I was faced with this problem before, but the software that I'm using, I can't hear things inside the software. So like, for instance, let me show you. You're going to be able to hear this. You're going to hear this, but I won't. So like you guys could hear that, but I couldn't. So I need to figure that out. So I've been working, all day yesterday, I spent working on this software, trying to get it right. I'm getting close. I think I'll be good to go in a couple days. I am dedicated to getting, I know it works. I just have to figure out how to do it so that I can start bringing on guests and, bring a different dynamic to the show. All right. So I just found this out before we got on, and I want to say that, so just found out that James Vanderbeek, the star of Dawson's Creek and Friday Night Lights, Varsity Blues, passed away, 48, of colon cancer. Colon cancer is taking dudes out, bro. And it's either colon or prostate. It's like one of the two. So 6 years later, he dies of the same thing that Chadwick Boseman died. Chadwick was very private with his, and James was, he let people know. I think that what I would probably do is, like, I respect what Chadwick was able to do, but I think that I would probably say something. I would use the time that I had left to try to get other people, men, women, to not take it for granted. And I keep saying that I'm going to go to the doctor, and I don't. And I need to go, because next thing you know, this could be me, like, real talk. And so, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I used to watch Dawson's Creek back in the day, 90210. You know what I'm saying? I think my sister got me hooked on Dawson's Creek. So I didn't watch the whole thing. Like I eventually fell out of it, but yeah. So that's like, man, and you know how you see people and you're like, they look sick. So Denzel Washington, he looks sick. He does, but he's also 71 years old. So I don't know if he's sick, but I know the internet is running wild with speculation. So just, man, you know what? I know life is always lifing. It is always something. And I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then I don't. I do everything else for everyone else. You know what I'm saying? My wife is sick right now. I'm taking care of her. My son has constantly all these appointments, and I'm constantly doing things for him. But I don't take enough time for myself, and I need to do that. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. It really is. Like, man, I mean, I think when the new year hit, it was like, you know how like it's always a celebrity that passes away. I mean, somebody is always passing away. Like every day, somebody is born, somebody dies. But because they're celebrities, it's broadcast more than like the average Joe or a woman, right? But I think it was like the first of the year or the second of the year, somebody passed. So like, 48. I just turned 46. I just turned 46, man. And you can always tell when somebody got cancer. It like eats you from the inside out. You look like a frail version of yourself. He looked the same as Chadwick. He looked the exact same as Chad, just skin and bones, man. So where you can obviously know something's wrong. So, we got to get checked out, dudes. Like, I mean, that doesn't mean you're going to stop it, but you could at least maybe catch it early or something like that. So I need to stop playing around. I need to stop. You know what? I need y'all to hold me accountable. Hold me accountable, man. I need to make that appointment. So every so often, ask me if I made the appointment. Like real talk. So that's that. Man, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. All right, so I guess this show will be on the shorter side because I got to take my son to his mom's house. He was supposed to go yesterday. Time got away from us and he didn't make it, so he's gonna go today. Hopefully get him over there by 5 and stuff like that. So we'll be on for an hour-ish, right? So we always say that. Sometimes we can go a little further. But let me see if I can. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Dern, Braylon, Drew, Andy, what up, though? Fave, what's good with you? Patty in the building. Schiff, Glasses. Isaiah Bugs is going to the UFL. You know what's crazy, bro? He's already been. He was playing for like the Brahmas or something like that. So what a huge fall off Isaiah Bugs has happened. So Dern. So here's what I'm doing, man. I'm trying to get the software on where, where you was coming in for the draft and stuff like that. So I have to plug up my other mixer for us to do that. I know I can do it with this mixer. I'm going to figure it out if it's the last thing I do. Shout out to Lions, Raw Detroit. What's up? Let me see. Steven, my phone lines do work, bro. I told you that the other day. I'm not scared you gonna call in, bro. Don't start with me today, Steve. If you want to call in, you got the number, big dog, and call the heck in. Malik, James Vanderbeek, man, the Dawson's Creek dude. The Dawson from Dawson's Creek. Life moves fast, man. We have things to do. Everyone is hard to prioritize the things we've been waiting to do. You know what's crazy, man, is like, I think it's something, I think when it comes to men and going to the doctor, we are protectors. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't look out for ourselves. We look out for everybody else. And there's somebody in my family right now who could potentially have cancer, but they don't want to know. They don't want to know. Now, they have lived a full life. Their time is coming soon, but they don't want to know. They don't want to know. They got a mass in their chest, but they don't want to know if it's benign or cancerous. And it's frustrating because it's somebody close to me, and it's tough. It's tough. So I don't want to be the guy that's like, I should have done this. Like, I'm literally talking to you, and I should have done this. It's Wednesday. There's no reason I can't make an appointment by Friday. So, yeah. What up, Steve? Hey, Derek, I had a family member pass away Sunday. That's why I haven't been here. Well, Will, I am sorry for your loss, my friend. And y'all, I never need to know why you're not here. Like, you don't owe me anything. So you don't ever have to feel like you owe me an explanation for why you're not here. It is, there's nothing, that is never a thing. What's up, Midwest? Nothing, man. I just started the show talking about James Vanderbeek passes away from colon cancer at 48. Chadwick Boseman, and you know what? You know what's yo, man, like both of these gentlemen were in their 40s, so I have to stop playing around. I'm 46 years old. I have to stop playing around. Yeah, so I'm committed to make an appointment by Friday. I have to make an appointment. I have to make. You know what? I'm gonna do one for the other side too. I gotta stop playing around because I'll be devastated if I could have done something about it and didn't. But I kept talking about it. So, well, according to the article, man, he was 48. Yes, bro. I heard about that. And you know who I thought it was? At first, I thought it was Rob Thomas, but he's Matchbox 20. And I'm like, the first thing I thought was Rob Thomas. I was like, no, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. So, men, look, it seemed like it's two that get us. It's either prostate or colon. And they both down there, right? We got to go, bro. Like, I got to stop talking about it and be about it. I really do. And I hope you do the same thing. All right, let's try to get into the show, man. I don't know if you guys saw, but the Pistons got into a little scuffle on Monday, and the suspensions have been passed out. We're going to talk about that. They played the Toronto Raptors, I believe it is, tonight. And then we got the All-Star break. That was a mess. But it was something to behold for sure. Dan Skipper has returned to the Detroit Lions less than a month after his retirement in a coaching position. I think he's an assistant. He's a coach on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if he's an offensive line assistant coach or whatever, but we talked, hey, he went right into it. So shout out to Dan Skipper. Yeah, the colonoscopy is no big deal, bro. I mean, the worst part about the colonoscopy is the preparation for it. I've had one before. They suck, bro. But, you know, it's really not a big deal. It's really not a big deal at all. Patrick says, I need to start getting into the Pistons. Yes. So, David, that's what I hear, man, that you can do a blood test now, which is kind of cool because I was, you know, yeah, I think every man is like, yo, that other thing is going on. Dan Skipper reported it as eligible. That's funny. Yeah, what about cleaning the colon? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, and then, you know, we got to talk about some things too, man. You know, Clint Kubiak comes out and says Max Crosby wants to stay. I'm so over Max Crosby. You know what? I no longer care. I don't really care at all. I was watching a video yesterday by a channel called Football Analysis, and it was a very good channel. Got several subscribers, like over 100K, and I believe it does. And it was a very good channel, but it was kind of funny because as I'm watching the video, there was a lot of things that the dude was saying, but he's not a Lions fan. So there are some people that are football guys like Brett Kohlerman and Football Analysis. And there's guys that are football guys, but I still think that we need dedicated team guys, and that a dedicated team guy can tell you, I don't care how much this person knows football, right? Or knows football, that a dedicated team guy can tell you things that they miss. So I'm watching his 20-something minute video, and this is not a critique of his video or a problem with it, but I thought it was some stuff that he left out. Like he was talking about how the Detroit Lions, and it's funny to me how we are seeing people catch up to me. Like I don't know how many people have been on the tip that I've been on, but from the free agency of 2023, so this is after Hutch, after J-Mo, I'm just like, yo, this team doesn't have enough. You don't have enough to compete. Right? To compete like for everything. Truly compete. And we saw that in the NFC Championship game. There's a lot of blame to go around. You can blame a lot of people equally, right? Yes, I like to talk about Brad, but Dan could have taken the points, and Josh Reynolds could have caught some passes and stuff like that, right? There's enough blame to go around, but you start watching it, and why is it that we can see problems a mile away, but yet the Detroit Lions can't or won't do anything about it? So now the Detroit Lions are in a situation, but we know they have to create some cap space, and the kind of the assumption is that there will be a couple people that do, right? And so one of the things that the Football Analysis guy was saying is that when teams sign people to these big contracts, that they are very well aware that they're going to, like, it's not going to stay that way. That they're going to readjust, right? Restructure and create space. So he had a scenario where, and I think I saw John talk about it from Detroit Sports on SI, that the Lions can create, we can go from -$8 million to like +70 with just 3 or 4 people either restructuring or being cut. Well, the 4 people won't be cut, but depending on what Taylor Decker does, the restructures of Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it was one more guy that I don't think it was Penei Sewell, but it could have been. So we could go from negative to plus real quick. And that's why I expected the Lions to do that. But what are we going to do with that money? Because even if we put the 15 aside for the draft picks, and let's say we create 70, that leaves us with $55 million. Is Brad going to take that $55 million and decide to do something with it, something valuable with it? Because Lions Live 365, he had a great point on, wait, what's happening with David Montgomery? What's going on with Monty? Man, y'all threw me off. So Lions Live 365, he had a great point about desperation, about the Lions going into desperation mode. And we saw that from Matt Patricia. We saw the desperation from Matt Patricia. Desperation led to Jeff Okudah, right? Which I don't know how on anybody's map he was desperation. If I was them, I would have traded back. There's no way I would have thought Jeff Okudah was all that. People knew what this guy was before he came out of college. I mean, if I was desperate, I would have, you know what I would have done? Desperation for me would have been trading something to come up and get Chase Young. Just one spot. That would have been desperation for me, right? So it's a great point, but at the same time, that's what every team in year 6 of a regime who has failed to make a Super Bowl is going to be. In desperation. You got to understand, I was watching yesterday, Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons are probably going to cut him. As a matter of fact, his cap hit is ridiculous in 2 years, so they're going to cut him this year. There talks about him going back to Minnesota. Raheem Morris just was hugging Arthur Blank and now was fired by them. So the fact that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are on year 6, that is a big deal. That's a huge accomplishment that they earned. But justice, they can also wear out their welcome as well. No, Flint, no. Nope, he not real. He not real. All right, so let's get into the first order of business because I want to talk about this. All right. Okay. Yes, the banner says Detroit Lions spike Kool-Aid, but this channel is supposed to be about everything Michigan, and eventually we will get there more than just this show. But I am watching the Pistons. I've been watching them for the past 2.5 months, and thanks to their winning ways, they really brought me back into the fold because I've always been around, but my love for the Pistons kind of faded away in the late 2000s after the Chauncey, Rip, Tayshaun, that whole era was coming to a close. And for whatever reason, man, I just kind of disconnected from the Pistons. But I've been around. I watched them play the Milwaukee Bucks several years ago when Andre Drummond was, I think, still on the team, and they got swept, and they hadn't made the playoffs in forever. And then I was there when they lose 28 in a row. And now, when they were 12-2 and they went on that run, it got me intrigued. I wanted to see what these boys were about. So I tuned in, and I've been watching every game ever since, unless I have something to do. So with that being the case, I see a lot of the bad boys, man. I feel like these Pistons are a mix between the going to work Pistons and the bad boys. And you have both in the same person, Isaiah Stewart. Jalen Duren is an absolute dog. When Cade Cunningham is on, he is on. And he single-handedly won that game against the Charlotte Hornets and snapped their 9-game win streak. But now we got to deal with those suspensions, man. It was an ugly sight on Monday night. And it of course, Pistons fans are going to have PTSD from Malice at the Palace. And, I don't like when people, when announcers bring it up. That was not a good look for our city, our team, or the NBA. So the Malice in the Palace is not a joke. It is not a joke at all. Now, thankfully, no fans were involved in this. That was I watched that live. It was ugly, right? But what happened on Monday night was ugly as well. And turns out that we knew some guys were going to get suspended. Now, when Isaiah Stewart was going after LeBron James, I wasn't watching. I just saw the highlights, and I'm like, who is this guy, right? Absolutely insane. And what happened on Monday was crazy. But here, the suspensions for what happened on Monday have been handed out. Now, of course, this is from earlier today, and I now follow Shams. How about that? So, according to Shams, the NBA suspensions for the fight. You've got Isaiah Stewart with 7 games, which sucks because now we've got Paul Reed. I mean, he did his thing on Monday, but we're going to miss Duren. You can tell when these guys are out the game. Miles Bridges, 4 games. This dude, I don't even want to say his name, 4 games. And Jalen Duren is 2 games. So those are big. So he'll miss the one that's happening tonight. And then I think the one after the All-Star game. Isaiah's probably going to be out for the rest of the month with the All-Star break, or maybe to the end of the month or early March. But those are the suspensions. And I'm going to tell you what. The Hornets was getting bullied, bruh. They was getting bullied in the paint. They want to pull up and pop threes. That's all they was doing. At one point, they had 55 points. And of those 55 points, 36 of them came from threes. So if Ball wasn't shooting a three, or my man, I forgot his name, bro, shooting a three, they weren't scoring, right? And the Pistons are a paint scoring team. That's what they do. They don't really shoot threes like that. You got Cade Cunningham. You got Duncan Robinson. And listen, the new dude, he gonna score eventually. Keep shooting that thing, man. The guy we traded for, he's going to score eventually. He looks a little timid out there, like, I don't know, like he's still acclimating to the team. He got to join into what we are. But it was something to watch, right? So if you didn't see it, it was crazy. Duren is bullying my man, and it had been growing over the course of the game, bullying him. They killing him in the paint. And my man tried to get in his face, and that was the end of that. Isaiah Stewart comes off the bench in defense of his homie. And so I didn't know that Miles, that I didn't know about the history. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And I feel like Isaiah Stewart, not only was he defending the homie, he was also trying to get some get back. And I can't say I'm mad at him. And JD Bickerstaff was not mad at him. The team was not mad at him. Yes, it sucks. Now we missing those 2 guys. And Isaiah Stewart is probably up for Defensive Player of the Year. Like, he's playing that well, right? When it comes to in the paint, right? I think he leads the league in like points in the paint, like you not being able to score when he's in there. So it was a bad look, but it did hype up the NBA. I think it was necessary because you bullying them. They these fast young guns popping threes all the time. And the Pistons like, this is what we going to do our work at, in the paint. You going to have to stop us from doing this work. If you can't, we going to keep doing it. And Jalen Duren, I didn't even know he was 22 years old. The dude is a dog. He really is. So it was a bad look. We're going to miss those guys for sure. But I think for Stu, like, you can't come off the bench. You cannot come off the bench. If you're in the game, that's one thing. If you come off the bench, it is an automatic suspension. You can't do that. But he did it. He did it for a reason. And when I say you can't do it, I mean, according to the NBA, you can do whatever you want to. You can do whatever you want to. But the guys they had it coming. They really did have it coming. They was feeling themselves. They were the 9-game win streak. They beating everybody. They shooting all these threes. And Pistons said, hey, my ring is outside. My ring is in the paint. That's where you're going to have to come and stop us at. So, and Cade took over when he had to. So, I mean, it was ugly. I'm glad that everybody was cool, no injuries or anything like that. But the 7 games, I think Duren coming back while Isaiah is out will be huge. But, look, I'm not going to lie. If my man was accused of what he accused in, I don't know if it's alleged. I don't know if it's proven. But if Miles do what he being accused of doing, I probably would have came off the bench too. I mean, Stewart was a beeline right for him. He said, look, when I can get you, I can get you. All right. So look, you got your own sense of justice when you on the court. And that's you don't do what he did. You don't do what he did. So, not for violence, but sometimes you got to handle business. So let me know what you think, man. Pistons still first place in the East. And they got a good chance of holding that lead for the rest of the season. We're right now at the All-Star break. We're over 42 games, so we're past the halfway point of the regular season, and the Pistons got a couple games over. I think it's the Boston Celtics and then the Knicks. So looks like that will be the first seed if we can keep this up. But it was an ugly sight, and we got to pay the price for it. But sometimes it needs to be done. So let me know what you think. All right, let me see. See Pool with the super chat. Says, I was listening to a draft podcast today. It was brought up twice that the Lions passed on Simmons last year. He would be the number one tackle in this draft. Okay, C-Pool, remind me who it is. Who Simmons is. One Pride says Stewart missed big games. Toronto, Knicks, the Spurs, the Thunder, the who's cast? Who's cast? You know what I noticed about the Pistons, right? So you're watching, because I watch more than them. So I'll sit back and I watch the Pistons, and then usually there's a night game that's on the West Coast. And I'm noticing, like, when the Pistons played the Kings, so they got the number 2 defense in the league, right? And I'm noticing when they have to play fast, they can. But that's not what they want to do, because they run it up and down with the Kings. I mean, you're talking about 200 and some points, 240 something points, almost 50 something points when they played the Kings. But then they'll play a team and barely score 100. So it's crazy. We did what we had to do. Hey, you know what, Patrick? You know what, bro? Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's funny because, like, you guys know the story with the Pistons. The Pistons were my thing. They were my thing back in the 90s. Like I said, I remember all of the Grant Hill. I remember when we had the stupid horse, bro, when we changed the logo to the horse. I remember drafting Grant Hill. I remember Joe Dumars retiring because he played with Grant a little bit. Like, I was there for all of that. I was there. My homie and I used to play NBA Live and, Bulls versus Blazers and all of that. And then after the championship run, it was something inside of me, man, that just, it was something about, like, the 2005, 6, 7, 8 season that I was like, yo, man, something inside me started to kind of die. And I don't know, I can't really name what it was. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, man, I feel that happening with the Lions. I'm not even kidding. I have been thinking a lot about the future of me talking Detroit Lions. And I'm just like, yo, man, it's not like a bandwagon thing, but it's more like the passion, right? I'm in front of this. I'm in front of y'all for passion reasons. I'm not in front of you to make money. I'm not in front of you because, I mean, there are multiple ways to make money, right? If I have to go back and work, that's what I'll do. I mean, I grew up doing this, so and this ain't like this ain't work, right? But the pressure, like the weight of, I'm tired, man. I feel like that this team, the urgency is not there. I feel like it, and I feel like Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. I'm starting to feel. I don't want to say Dan Campbell okey-doked us, but I'm feeling okey-doked. And you know what else is frustrating too? And I'm not talking about y'all in the chat, because I feel like if you listen to me, you a diehard. You either listen because you hate, you love to hate, or you feel very similar to me. You don't have to feel exactly like me. We're different people. But if you watch me, then you have some level of feeling like I'm feeling. And I'm to the point, like, I'm still on the season ticket holder list, the wait list. I still plan to get season tickets. But I feel, and we had this segment on Monday, I don't know, why should I be excited? Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes has not given me a reason to be excited about the 2026 season. I don't have a reason. I don't. So there's a couple guys we're going to talk about on Lion Syndicate. All right. And I think that Brad Holmes, like, could go after them. Will he? I don't know. And that's the thing. Shout out to Braylon with the super chat, says, I like those horse logos. NBA logos had so much creativity back then. Now it's just bland and boring. You know what, B? I think the horse logo, it was like, okay, first of all, you're the Detroit Pistons. You ain't the Detroit Horses. Like, what are we talking about? I know horsepower. That was probably the play on it, but I was just like, no, I didn't like it. I did like the blue version of it. I do like you know what, bro? I think that they're kind of creative and boring at the same time. Like, I did a I looked up the Clippers. I'm like, I didn't even know they changed their logo. So it's a boat and a compass, and the Pelicans. I really like that one. And some other ones that like the Mavericks, they got one of the best ones and stuff like that. So the Hornets is a nice logo. I like the logo. Whenever you can incorporate the NBA the basketball, I love that. So I kind of agree with you that creativity is kind of bland. Like there's nothing special about the Clippers. I think there's a C inside of there as well. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. The horse was just like, what are we doing? What is this? Like you go from this basketball to like this massive departure of, but I guess if you're going to change the logos, then that's what you need to do. Let me see. Simmons was the Chief first round pick. Oh, really? Simmons, the left tackle out of Ohio State, got drafted by the Chiefs. He missed a game against us for personal reasons. That's how much I keep up with other teams, bro. The 313 waiting for your Max. You know what? Are y'all still on Max, bro? I'm like over Max Crosby. I'm just over Max Crosby. I'm like, dog, pick a side. Pick a side. So here's what I think. I don't think that people are lying on Max Crosby. You got Jay Glazer coming out and saying something. You've got a random GM who, first of all, if you're going to be a GM, bro, and say something anonymous, you a sucker. I mean, that's just, I don't like that, bro. If you're going to drop a nugget or you dropping this hard knowledge, you say who you are, bro. You know what I'm saying? Say who you are. Just a unnamed GM. I heard that he'll never play again and blah, blah, blah. Like you coming with some allegations of Max Crosby told Tom Brady he'll never play again. You got Kubiak saying he's excited. But look, I'm over the Max Crosby thing. I low-key don't even care. Do whatever you got to do, bro. Do whatever you got to do. If it's here, fine. If it ain't fine, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, look, we do better off getting Trey Hendrickson. I mean, but I have a path that I think Brad is going to take. And that's why I say, like, I don't have a reason to be excited. If Brad does the same thing, like, understand this. It doesn't matter what Brad does. He has to be perfect. He has to bat 100. He cannot miss at all. We've had, and so the lack of excitement. But I mean, look, the most exciting thing that we've done is bring in Dan Skipper. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, so Shiv, I saw people talk about Joey Bosa. Who did I watch? Oh, it was the Crunch Time guys, and they said the article from CBS Sports. So, but I didn't look at it. Look, I have been checked out. I've been checked out, y'all. That's why I've been making content on Lion Syndicate. I mean, when it's something to talk about, it's something to talk about. But like today, you got the Skipper news. You got, I do want to make a video about, you know how I roll. This is year 5. We've been doing this. I don't care about the draft until March 12th. I don't care nothing about the draft because right now it's signing our own guys. Then it's bringing in free agents. And then that's the order of the NFL. So I don't care about the draft until we find out what we're doing in free agency. I don't care about it. I don't care about prospects and all that. But look, I'll do what I did. Last year was the first time that I made the least amount of draft videos ever on Lion Syndicate. That's what I'm going to do this year. The draft videos are dumb to me. They're dumb because now they're getting dumb because, first of all, who knows what Brad Holmes is going to do? Who knows, right? And then it's like draft videos are like, to me, they are like predicting the score. That you don't know what they're going to do. This is what the team needs. A mock draft, nobody knows. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, unless you are the number 1 pick, you don't know what's going to happen. Everybody knows that Mendoza's going to the Raiders. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Outside of that, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. So why even try to predict it? I mean, it's content. It is what it is. But to me, man, I'm over it, bro. I'm over the draft. I'm sick of it. I'm tired. Make this team better in free agency. Do that. Take a chance in free agency because look, Brad Holmes ain't bad. His average ain't been that great since the 3rd round of 2023. His average is not that great. Trey Hendrickson, no picks given. Listen, if the Cincinnati Bengals tag Trey Hendrickson, I would never play for them again. I would retire before I take a snap. How much are you going to continue to disrespect me? A man can only take so much. Like, real talk. I don't care how much money is involved. So I'm going to make $30 million. No, I'm not, because I ain't taking a snap for you. I'm done. I am done. Trey Hendrickson, if he the real deal, if he bought that life, he will never play for Cincinnati again. They done blew that. You know how long this has been going on with Trey Hendrickson? It has been going on for years. I was making videos about him in 2023. It ain't no way I take a snap at all, ever again for the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey says, you got Davenport and you'll like it. As GM Langdon of the Pistons is running circles around Brad Holmes, how to revive a team. What about Nick Bosa from the 49ers? No, they're not. Nick is, first of all, he gonna cost too much money. And I think he already costs, no, they're not giving. Nick is all they have. Derek, why am I yelling? Derek, for $300 million, I take snaps with the Bengals for life. For $30 million. Yeah. Tigers being more aggressive than the Lions. Oh, yeah. So shout out to JV. Justin Verlander back in Detroit. And, of course, there's somebody who's coming back with him, but, you know, that's irrelevant to me. But shout out to him, bro. Shout out to him. Won a World Series, right, with the one of the teams he was with. Kayvon Thibodeau, what about him? Okay, so Will, I did see that, all right? Kayvon Thibodeau, I saw on NFL Rumors, and NFL Rumors, they don't state necessarily where this rumor is coming from. So when they do that, it's hard for me to kind of believe what they say. But I don't know, man. I don't know. See, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Braylon, that, you know what? That they do, bro. Because when I was driving to Kansas City, that was when they were in that was in the, you know, the do or die game against Seattle. And I'm driving to Kansas City, right? What's the dude, like the dude who bats for the Tigers? Like when you know you have to watch out for the dude. What's his name? Is it, when you say it, I'll know. Not sure if it's a good thing your coaches can block better than your players. That's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Like the guy, Carpenter. There it is. It came right. Thank you, Braylon. It came right as you was. So, like, outside of him, it was like, can anybody hit a bat? Can anybody hit a ball? So I'm listening, and I'm like, okay, he's our best. And this is all from driving to Kansas City. That game took me halfway there. It went on so long, it took me halfway there. Like, I left in the first inning, and it was still going on, and I was halfway to Kansas City. It was crazy. It was like can anybody else? If anybody else, like, would have been a threat at bat, then we probably would have won that game. Like, real talk. So, yeah. Riley Green, yeah, he was pretty good, too. Kerry Carpenter is going to bat even better than expected. Him to hit 30-plus in 2026. All right. So, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I would love to know how y'all feeling. I really would. I would love to know how you're feeling about the future of this team, like the immediate future of this team. All right, so the Detroit Lions got a lot of work to do. We've had this segment before. We've talked about it before. We've talked about our excitement for the team and the future, the immediate future. And I'm part of me is torn in the wanting to see, appreciating like other teams and the risk that they take to make their team better. And also believing that my team can continue to compete at a high level. Because this is new to us. We've only been doing this as of late. We had our run in the 90s. And now this is the first time that we've had a run. I don't think until Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, we hadn't made the playoffs 2 years in a row. The whole time under Stafford. Now, I don't know about in the 90s and early 2000s. I wasn't locked in like that. But under Stafford, we didn't make the playoffs two years in a row. We went 2011. That was time number one. Number two was the infamous 2014 season. And then it was 2 years later with the Seattle Seahawks when we scraped in and made the playoffs. And I'm wondering, have Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell reached desperation? How desperate are they to win with the time they have left, right? So consider this. If you've been given a terminal illness means that you have a limited time to live. 12 months, 24 months, 5 years. You're going to probably, with that time frame in mind, you're going to probably do everything that you've been putting off, whether it's taking care of something, whether it's enjoying something, or trying something new. And that's going to be your main focus because your time is limited. When it comes to Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, and I grouped them both together. You guys know how I feel. If that Dan is much more safer than Brad, in my opinion. We've seen this regime fire a general manager and retain his coach. I believe that this ownership of Sheila Hemp will do the exact same thing that her mom did with Jim Caldwell when he was retained back in 2014. I think that's not 2014, 2016. That's when the general manager was fired and he was retained. And then Bob Quinn couldn't wait to get him out. And that's the story there. But that's what I think will happen with Dan Campbell. I think it's obvious. Dan Campbell is the Detroit Lions. He is the city of Detroit. He's everything that we've come to know him and love about the Detroit Lions. That is Dan Campbell, the good and the bad. But how close are the Detroit Lions to desperation? They for all the good that they've done over the past 5 years, there's been a lot of bad in there. These contracts, right? These contracts are not necessarily terrible if you can create more money. So the way that I understand it, when you sign a player to a mega deal like this, you're already thinking about the restructure down the line. It always happens. It like 90% of the time restructures are done, or the contract is structured in a way that it will clear up some cap space, or people get cut. Lions can go from $8 million in the hole to plus 70 with a couple restructures, couple cuts, right? It can happen. But how are they that desperate yet? Like, how desperate are they? All right. Lions need a pass rusher. They still need a pass rusher because guess what? Al-Qadim Muhammad is not under contract in 2026. And according to SpotTrack, his market value is $8 million. We've went over this before. Brad Holmes has never paid that amount of money for anyone on the edge. You can go check it. He's never paid that much money. Marcus Davenport got 6.9 year one. He got 4 and some change year 2, which is completely ludicrous to me. He's never paid that much. Aiden still now going into his 5th year option. Now he making that much money. His elite rookie defensive end was not even making that much money until just recently. And his new contract is year after next. How desperate are the Detroit Lions going to be? Are they going to be desperate enough to sign a game-changing free agent, which they have not done? They really have not done. I mean, a couple good signings here and there, but are they desperate enough to sign a costly Trey Hendrickson? He's not going to be cheap. He's going to be cheaper due to coming off injury and his age. If he can escape Cincinnati, how desperate are the Detroit Lions that desperate? Are they desperate enough to trade for Max Crosby? Are they that desperate? How desperate are they? And is desperation a good thing? Is it a good thing? Rufus with the super chat, appreciate you, my guy, says, we may need some fresh blood to take us over the top. It pains me to say this because I thought MCDC and Brad were the guys. Rufus, I'm with you. I also feel that because of what Brad Holmes has done, the good, if he wanted to, he can flip it. But he's got to be flawless. He's got to be flawless. And I'm not absolving Dan Campbell from his responsibility as well. You sit there. The reason I put this on Brad Holmes is because Brad Holmes in the hierarchy matrix, he has more power over Dan Campbell. Sheila has power over him as the general manager. The hierarchy is you are higher than the coach. That's it. The coach can't fire the GM, but the GM can fire the coach. The owner can fire the general manager. The president can fire the general manager, right? So in hierarchy, Dan Campbell is under Brad Holmes. That's it. Brad Holmes is the store manager. You're the shift manager. Like Dan Campbell is the shift manager. Or you've got a regional general manager and a store general manager. There's a hierarchy to NFL teams. And the hierarchy, and so that's why I put all of the responsibility on Brad, because you were the draft scout. You are in charge of the personnel. You are the one that can pull rank and say no or yes. This player yes, this player no. And I believe that most of it is on him, because he's the one that had on a positional value villain hoodie. You never saw Dan Campbell wear that. And they've worn each other's clothes, like jerseys and the same shirt, but you never saw Dan Campbell not once had a positional value villain hoodie. Shirt, nothing. Dan is all about grit, right? We want more. It takes more. We saw Brad Holmes change right in front of our eyes. So for me, how desperate are you? So do you think that the Lions general manager and coach have reached bucket list status? And what that means is they need to, their time may be coming to an end. We need to bucket list this thing. What is a bucket list item for the Detroit Lions? A capable edge rusher for multiple years out on the opposite side of Aiden. Do you understand how fortunate we are to have Aiden Hutchinson? That Jacksonville valued Trayvon Walker more than Hutch. Do you understand that? Can you imagine where we would be had it been the other way around? That Jacksonville took Aiden Hutchinson, who would look sleek, by the way, in a Jacksonville uniform. Could you imagine? The word on the street is we were going to take Trayvon Walker. Had they not taken Hutch, or they taken Hutch. Could you imagine what we would be in now? Trayvon's solid, but he not Hutch. He not Hutch, right? So for me, I want to know, where are we at? Because these guys can't pretend like they have all day. They don't. They do not. They have 2 years left. That is a fact right now. They have 2 years left. You got the Seattle Seahawks celebrating a Super Bowl championship while the Detroit Lions didn't make the playoffs. And you know why I think this is even more egregious than anything. The fact where the Detroit Lions are at is because you had an opportunity. You had an opportunity and you missed it. You missed it. This was a choice that the Lions made. That's what I'm trying to, where does my frustration come from? This was something that was in their control that they did not take advantage of it. For instance, Micah Parsons getting hurt is in nobody's control. It is a freak accident. Aiden Hutchinson getting hurt, freak accident. We finally had a freak accident happen to us, a devastating freak accident that robbed this man. He was robbed twice of an award. Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, right? Still better than Sauce right now. And Defensive Player of the Year in 2024. He was robbed twice. And still wind up being, top 5, 6 in sacks by the time the season was over. You had an opportunity, and you didn't take advantage of it. And now you are in desperation mode, because if you're going to get extended in the next 2 years, you have to show Sheila why she should do that. And right now, there's a reason the Lions have not extended Brad and Dan Campbell. There's a reason. Because it's not time. They did it once when they earned it. But we already know about that one. We're not talking about that one. We're talking about the next one, because we batted our eyes, and now we're going into year 6 of this regime. And we've been on the decline since the NFC Championship game of 2023. For 2 years, the Lions, if you really look past the record, the Lions have been on a decline. We've seen this defense needing to be overhauled for years, and the Lions don't do what they need to do. So, where do you think this regime is at? Do you think that they've reached desperation level, which is any means necessary, bring the Detroit Lions a title? Or do you think they have time to maybe fix it? From what Sheila has done thus far, I think they're they're in desperation mode. But you can be desperate and smart at the same time. So let me know what you think. Let me see. We only bring on guys you have to Google to find out who they are. Dang, Twisted. That's cold. That is cold. 31 other teams think they're getting Crosby. If we can stay healthy, says Steve, I don't care if we make 0 moves. Dan needs to chill out on these guys in practices. That needs to change this year. Okay, so what if Dan Campbell doesn't push hard and then they come out soft? Lions have a lot of holes. They need speed. Hey, that is 100%. You type Bach as coach. Did you mean Bach? Yeah, maybe I was thinking about King Batch. I'll fix it later. It's not a big deal. Lions have a lot of holes. Okay, let me see. Dan Skipper, Bach. Just curious, what happens to the extra money we didn't spend last year? It gets rolled over. And it's getting, even with that rollover, we're negative $8 million now. If Goff doesn't take a massive pay cut in his restructure, I just invest in defense. In the draft room, I've never seen Dan say, I want this player. It's always Brad suggesting someone and Dan just going along with him. Trayvon might be a different player under Dan's tutelage. Trey, that's fair. That's fair. I will say this, though. Trayvon Walker was nothing. He was not even on anybody's radar until the combine. That was the moment that everything changed. If you guys remember that, go back to 2022. Nobody was talking about Trayvon Walker. It was Hutch. There was some debate on who was going to be the number 1 pick. And then all of a sudden, after February, early March, we hear Trayvon Walker's name that he's shooting up the top 10. The dude literally came from outside the top 10 and blazed. They were like, I don't even know if he was going to be a first round pick. Let me see. I think they think they have time. I truly believe next year will be our best year yet. Steve, look, bro, I appreciate you, your loyalty to the show, the remarks, but bro, I need some substance from you, bro. Like I cannot. I need, give me a reason, specifics. You have the number, call it in. I would love to bring in your voicemail. Bring it in. I need specifics. Why? Why do you think, even healthy, our defense was going to fall off a cliff? We have to win. I've been saying this for years. You got to win with 4. You have to win. You cannot continue to bring safeties all the time or linebackers all the time. Your front 4 is the key to your success, and we just will not do anything about it. Charles with the super chat says, what's going on with our strength and conditioning? I have no idea. Another super chat says, too many injuries. I'm not blaming injuries. We could have had players to fill those holes. I like adult Tigers and being aggressive. Brad needs to be more aggressive now than ever. All right, Trey, have a great day, my friend. It says we need Brad Holmes to go all in order to have a good year. All right, so listen. Let me ask y'all a legit question. Let's have a scenario. All right? So Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, to me, are under more pressure than they've ever been. This is not a rebuild year. You are not taking over a Matt Patricia-led team. You are trying to fix your own mistakes. And I want to ask the fan base a question. What would you prefer? Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have 2 years remaining on their contract unless Sheila extends them for a second time. You've got 2 timelines. I want you to pick one as a Detroit Lions fan. Would you rather timeline A for the Detroit Lions to continue to do what they've been doing and we get the same results? NFC Championship game, no Super Bowl. Maybe we win another playoff game. Maybe we win another division title. Maybe we don't. They do the same thing. Or option timeline B is they move the needle. They start to attempt things that they haven't before. Now, both of them fail. Now, we're not talking about like the future and all of that stuff. Both roads lead to the same place, which is not a Super Bowl. But would you rather them keep doing what they're doing and fail that way, or try something different and fail that way. I'm not talking about necessarily mortgaging the future. But you know what? For what that's worth, I think that is malarkey. I think that's manure. I really, truly do. Because we've seen teams sell the farm, mortgage the future, and walk away with Super Bowls. We've seen teams not do that and walk away with Super Bowls. Because to win a Super Bowl and be the last of 32 teams in the NFL, you have to be perfect at the perfect time. Brad Holmes said in the offseason of 2025, they're not trying to win in the month of March. You're trying to win in the month of December, which you really didn't do. Why is it? And ask yourself this question. Why is it that the entire media, the mainstream media, that annoys me as well because they talk like they know our team, why is it that they actually were right last year? Why is it? You probably felt in your heart that the Lions weren't a better team, but you tried to convince yourself that they were based on the fact that of where we came from just a few years earlier. But the writing was on the wall. That's how that the mainstream media was able to say, you're not a better team. You've lost both coordinators. You've done nothing in free agency to move the needle, and your draft picks were underwhelming. You have the Chicago Bears with a bunch of space last year, getting our old offensive coordinator, making moves that we laughed at. I scoffed at DeAndre Swift. I was like, who is this dude? He wasn't like that when he was with us. I mean, they picked up our scraps and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Jonah Jackson, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. It was ridiculous. They had 7 former Detroit Lions on their team. That team that almost was in the NFC Championship game, right? Why is it that the mainstream media knew? Because the writing was on the wall. You cannot stay the same. If teams around you are getting better, you cannot stay the same. It is a statistical fact. You have to be able to evolve and progress with these teams. There's a reason the Lions wound up, they were first and not a last. We got beat. Listen to this. We lost to a quarterback who did not get drafted, not Brock Purdy, a quarterback that did not get drafted, was sacked 7 times, had 51 total passing yards, had 3 net passing yards after 7 sacks. So if I would have told you on Christmas morning, as you waking up, opening your presents, that the Lions would be eliminated from playoff contention, Justin Jefferson would barely touch the football, and you would lose to a guy that did not get drafted, had 51 total passing yards, and after you took away sacks, a net total of 3 yards, you would probably drive to my house and want to assault me. Okay? That's probably what you would do. Call me every name in the book. I would probably call myself a name because I would have said, you stupid. Ain't no way that we would lose and then, to make matters worse, get eliminated from playoff contention. You talking about insult to injury and more insult on injury. You got those 2 paths. For me, I'm ready to see something new. I want to see something new. I think that the grit over talent, look, all grit was needed to wipe the Patricia era away. And I think it did just that. In my opinion, all grit did 2 things. It wiped away the Patricia stench. Now the only thing that reeks of Patricia is the ATV that the Lions still have in their training facility. That's it. And to me, what it did for me, you might feel something different. It got rid of SOL. SOL will always be there. It'll always be an ember floating around somewhere, but it ain't as prevalent as it was with every other regime. Jim Caldwell, Jim Schwartz, Matt Patricia. SOL was always right around the corner. I feel like that SOL, while still there for a lot of people, is buried deep under the surface. You really got to dig to find it. Those are the 2 things that the all grit era did. Now it's time to end. Notice, in TV shows, story arcs, everything has an arc. Everything has its time, and then you move on to another arc. Every single series, there's a storyline. Here's the storyline. Wrap it up. Okay? This storyline had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It wrapped up in a nice bow, and now you move on to another story. The all grit, it takes more. Do you know that? See, I pay attention to this. So in 2025, the mantra was, we want more. In 2026, it was, it takes more. Now, it takes talent. That's what it should be. Enough. It's over for me. So for me, I would much rather see my team show me that they're serious and try some things that they haven't tried before. And I wonder how much is Brad going to back up what he said. See, he went into 2025 with the arrogance of the past years of 2023 and 2024. And he said, we're not going to change anything. What we've been doing is working. Why would we change anything if it's working? Okay. And the reason it worked is because of a lot of factors. Schedule. It worked. You know, you had a little bit of circumstance in there too, right? A ball this way, a field goal kick this way, taking the points that way, right? But when things when the pressure started building, then everything started to collapse. If you have a basement foundation that is in need of repair and you don't repair it, it could collapse. Next thing you know, you got dirt in your basement, right? If you have a car that needs to be serviced, you can't keep ignoring the signs that's right there. Take it to be serviced. I would much rather see my team try something new, whether that's aggression in free agency, aggression via a trade, actually get a pass rusher in the draft before the 6th round, like real talk. So we'll see exactly what the Lions have in store. But for me, I may give it all you got guy, then leave anything on the table. And I feel like right now there's a lot of meat on that bone for the Detroit Lions. And if Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell walked away right now, or they walked away after 7 years, could they say that they left it all on the table? Could they actually say that? It's a lot of meat on them bones, man. They got to find a way to clean the plate. Charles with the super chat says, no more holiday games. Heads never in the game. You know what, bro? Look, Charles, I hear you, bro. I appreciate this super chat, but I'm like this, dog. I'm like this. I mean, I understand family is family, but family, understand why you in the house that you in is because of my job, right? So we can have Christmas might be the 25th, but what's wrong with that? I mean, okay. You know, you might believe that Jesus wasn't even born that day. I don't know. But look, you live in a $1 million mansion. You get whatever you want. Yes, daddy had to work. But our daddy gonna bring you something home too. Like, don't forget, this is why you're here. This is why you're here, man. The NFL is your boss. I have a boss. You're a millionaire that has a boss. You got to work. It ain't, yeah, I hear you. But I understand with the Christmas. I think that was a lot for Detroit. You could tell Penei Sewell was not in. You are right. That was the game that everybody was like, why are we here? But it'll be a while before they play on Christmas again. It'll be a while. So they can get over it. But I'm sure when they saw that check hit the bank, they was like, this is why we work. Hey, you know how daddy gets you that Christmas gift that you wanted? This is how. Okay, I see you. We can have Christmas tonight, bro. At the end of the day, if there are not at least 2 major moves made by Brad, says Andy, there's no reason to be excited for 2026. They caught us in high school. They taught us in high school that defense wins championships. All right, so let me ask y'all a question. What would you consider dang, we've been on for an hour, bro. Good Lord. What did I tell y'all? What did I tell you, bro? I gotta go. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yo, look, I need like a zapper or something, man, because I did not know. Usually I had the time pulled up. Yo, I said an hour-ish, but I knew that hour-ish was more like an hour 15. You know what I'm saying? He'll be there by 5. Frozen, what up, Frozen, says, I'm not saying you're wrong on your opinion, but I think the problem isn't grit. I think it's more about MCDC being about grit and Holmes being about arrogance. Both of them have been in sync both have to be in sync for it to work. Okay, Frozen. Let me retort and let me tell you what I mean by that. Okay. when you okay, when you say no amount of talent will get you on the Detroit Lions, right? And you're all about grit, right? Intangibles, all of that. I get it. I appreciate it. I respect it. But you got to have some talent on the team, right? So the perfect example of what the Lions to me are trying to do is Aiden Hutchinson. But Aiden Hutchinson is a diamond in the rough. Like, think about how many people are going to have all of that in the time that you have. So you hit Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell, a great example. Jahmyr Gibbs, okay? Now, let's talk about Brian Branch a little bit. What would you say Brian Branch is? Brian Branch got it looked like a little bit of a temper, right? He ain't been straight. Jameson Williams was in some trouble. He good now. But I'm saying you got to have talent on the squad, bro. Like, okay, Romeo Okwara, Dan Skipper. I love. We ain't even talk about Skip. That's crazy. Dan Skipper had everything. He had all, but the talent wasn't there. Like, we all know that. We all know that the talent was not there with Dan Skipper. Dan Skipper was like undrafted. He was a vagabond, a practice squad dude. And he made a name for himself here, and now he's on our coaching staff. But we need some talent, bruh. And sometimes that talent might come with a little bit of attitude, a little bit, right? C.J. Gardner-Johnson. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, to me, was the outlier. None of what C.J. Gardner-Johnson did not fit the team. He didn't. Nothing about him fit. Nothing about it. He was not the prototypical Detroit Lion that we were bringing in before. He wasn't. I think that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was brought in for talent, or what Brad Holmes thought. And look, we all was hyped when he came in. We was hyped. I ain't gonna lie. We was hyped, bro. So for me, I hear you, bro. I hear you. And I agree, but I also agree that you got to move the needle. You got to move the needle. And you know what's funny? That I think the Lions, that this is indicative of what the Lions, check this out. Lions signed a practice squad defensive end in Al-Qadim Muhammad. On the team that he was on, he wind up having a career year and now has outpriced himself from what Brad Holmes is used to paying. Can you believe that? Al-Qadim Muhammad, according to SpotTrack, is outpriced itself. He's at $8 million a season. Brad Holmes, as we discussed earlier, has never signed a defensive end to $8 million a season. And I think Trey Hendrickson is, no. Trading for Max Crosby? No. We making videos? Yeah, that's what we do. Is it going to happen? No. Even if it could, it wouldn't. That's why I said, I will know everything I need to know about Brad come May 1st, when the 2026 free agency period is done. And this is how I will come to my ultimate conclusion. Based off of the drafts that you have had and the free agencies that you've had from the third round of 2023, the offseason of the third, okay, check this out. If you really want to go back, the offseason of 2023, the draft of 2023, the trade deadline of 2023, the offseason of 2024, the draft of 2024, the trade deadline of 2024, when your hand was forced to trade for Zadarius Smith, the offseason of 2025, the draft of 2025, the trade deadline of 2025. If you look at it like that, you're like, yo, why should I have no expectations from Brad. None. So if he does what he has not done, which is get aggressive in free agency and the draft, right? He's been aggressive in the draft, but all for the wrong reasons. Like, real talk. A lot of them, that aggression, the Broderick Martins, the Giovanni Manu, all of them things, failed projects. Kobe Sorsdahl will not be on this team in 2026, right? If free agency passes, the draft passes, and we're still the same, I have made my final conclusion on Brad Holmes. And I'm pretty sure I already know what it's going to be already. I know what it's going to be. Shift says, Andy Bear says okay, let me see what was it. The reason the Falcons and Bengals lost the Super Bowl is because they didn't have a defense. Letting CD 3 go was a mistake. That's fair. I agree. You definitely need to have the skill to go with the wheel. That's all I'm saying, Frozen. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, Will, what are we? Green Lantern? What is this, Captain Planet? Come on, dog. You know what? That's what the Lions remind me of Captain Planet, bro. Y'all ever watch Captain Planet back in the day? The power is yours. You know what was funny to me about Captain Planet? I mean, the theme song was crazy. The theme song was why you watch the show. Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna turn but losing down to 0. You was like, man, you was a kid, you was hype, you was singing it, you was in school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what element y'all was. Earth, fire, water, wind, heart, wasn't. This team is like Captain Planet. But what was so special about Captain Planet? Nothing. Captain Planet would come out, right? Come out by your powers. I am Captain Planet. He come out, you hype the theme song is playing. What happened? You throw a piece of trash at Captain Planet and he had to go back in the rings. Y'all know I'm not lying. I'm like, dog, what are you? Are you supposed to be Captain Planet? They hit you with some sludge and you done. They hit you with an old straw from the you get hurt. Captain Planet. That's what the Lions are. Lions are Captain Planet, bro. We got enough Planeteers. We need a Superman. Captain Planet ain't working. He back in the ring. He need to recharge. Used to kill me, bro. This guy come out, take all the rings. You couldn't bring him out without all the rings. And then he get hit with a trash can lid. He done. He done, bro. Enough with the Captain Planet. All right? So, that's the show today. We'll probably be on, and I didn't even talk about Skip, but that's right. Lion Syndicate, I'll make a video over there. Yeah. We'll probably be on Friday if there's something to talk about. I think that the Lions are going to start making moves very soon because we are in that the Super Bowl is over. We're in that time that we can start re-signing our own guys. That's probably going to happen soon. And then after that, and you know what else? That'll tell you a lot about what the Detroit Lions. I am interested. We already know that Josh and Levi will be back. I'm interested to know if Davenport. I'm interested to know if Al-Qadim is going to come back before free agency even begins. So, and we got a couple guys to talk about. So, keep up with Lion Syndicate because I got the Skip video. I got another video as well too. That I think that this person might be, because I'm gonna tell you where my videos are gonna be on free agency. If Mel Kiper come, what I did last year, Mel Kiper is it. When he came out with the mock draft, that's the only one I talked about. I'm not after 2024 when we took Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, 2 back-to-back corners, and one was hurt and one has played 8 games. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with the drafts. Like, I'm done. Nobody knows what he's going to do. So Mel Kiper will be probably the only draft videos I make. I started doing that last year, and it was just fine. So with that being the case, man, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. The Pistons are tonight, right? I think it's tonight. It's either tonight or tomorrow. And yeah, man, go Lions. I'll see y'all hopefully on Friday. And men, real talk, myself included. If you need to make that appointment, make that appointment. So when I get back on here, what I want y'all to hold me accountable. Say, Derek, did you make the appointment? And my promise to you is I will be honest. I will be honest. But I've been talking about it for so long that it's time. And with the passing of Chadwick and James Vanderbeek, it's like, dog, you know, I feel like it won't be my fault. Like I can't, but at least I could have done something about it. You know, like I said, I have somebody in my family that doesn't want to know if their mass is benign or cancerous. And if it, you know, so, and what it's doing to the family is something, you know, that I don't like. So anyway, yeah, look, we all got to do it someday. So I'll see y'all later.
I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, 'cause we waiting on our paper. So next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, 'cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the day, you don't know about the streets, 'cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah.